Europe, the continent with a long history of white-on-white violence. Unfortunately, Europe is not having a good time right now. There's still a war in Ukraine, which is also causing an energy crisis. Italy's prime minister has called it quits. Britain has lost its leadership, which means now they'll have to find another magic spell to turn a dandelion into a prime minister. Plus, for the first time ever, the euro has become less valuable than the dollar. Yeah. And with the economy struggling, European workers are now limited to only 45 weeks of vacation a year. And as if all of that wasn't enough, now Europe is dealing with a hot girl summer that nobody asked for.
The triple-digit temperatures that have sparked forest fires and drought conditions here in the States are also taking hold in Europe.
This morning, people are being warned to take cover as deadly heat sweeps across Britain. The National Weather Service issuing the first ever extreme heat warning, with forecast highs of 105 today and tomorrow, hotter than the Sahara Desert and Delhi. The scorching heat is bearing down on all of Western Europe, fueling out-of-control wildfires.
In southwest France, planes dumped yet more water over wildfires that have burned an area bigger than 20,000 football fields.
The heat is causing havoc. London's Luton Airport and an RAF base in Oxfordshire both being forced to close because the runways were melting.
Mamma mia! Sacre bleu! Bloody bull sweat! The runways in Europe are melting. Did you hear that? The runways are melting. You never want to land a plane and hear it go, ah, 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 ah. And what do you even do in that situation? What do you do? Like, if the runway's melted, where's the plane gonna land? In the baby's mouth? That's right, open up, baby. Please, baby, the plane needs you, baby. Ah! You know, this is one of those situations where you really appreciate how calm a pilot is, you know? Because like even when a runway's melting, I bet the pilot's just going to be there like, ladies and gentlemen, it seems the airplane is melting into the ground, so I'm going to suggest everyone get back to their seats. Hold on, now it seems like a portal to the underworld is opened and we are slowly being sucked by the devil himself, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on the fasten seatbelt sign. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. But yes, Europe is scorching hot right now. And it's so bad that there were photos going around today of people pouring water in the mouths of the guards at Buckingham Palace. Yeah. I mean, if I had to make a suggestion, though, maybe the first thing I would do in a heat wave is lose the 10-foot hat, covered entirely in fur, or at least fill it with ice. It looks like it would be a good cooler, you know? And remember, you might be hearing those temperatures in America going like, oh, 100 degrees, that doesn't sound bad. But remember, this heat wave is especially bad for Europe because Europeans are not prepared for this kind of heat. Yeah, they don't use air conditioners in most parts of Europe. They don't even put ice in their drinks. And they can get sunburnt from like a camera flash. So how do I look? So, once again, all over the world, we're experiencing record temperatures, wildfires, and droughts. And I mean, I know it can't be climate change because Fox says that's not real, so it's probably pronouns? Is it pronouns? I heard those are pretty bad. Anyway, let's move on from Europe to another place that's feeling the heat, the White House. After being unable to accomplish anything that Joe Biden has campaigned on, the president's approval rating is now hovering somewhere between long COVID and Uvalde police departments. And making matters worse for him is a runaway inflation, right? Especially when it comes to gas prices. The prices of gas are so high that these days driving is the entire date. You know, it's just like, he really spoiled me last night. We drove all the way from my house to the end of the block. Oh, he's so romantic. But here's the thing. Until gas prices improve, neither will Joe Biden's approval rating, all right? Which is why over the weekend, he was in Saudi Arabia making nice with a frenemy who just happens to own a lot of oil.
It was the fist bump seen around the world. The president with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the man the U.S. holds responsible for the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
It's the image the Saudis had hoped for and the White House had hoped to avoid.
Biden's doctors reportedly disallowed handshakes due to COVID, but conveniently also helped the president avoid a photo op of shaking the hand of the Crown Prince.
You regret the fist bump, Mr. President? Why don't you guys talk about something that matters?
Yeah! Stop asking him about the fist bump. Ask him about the looming recession. No, actually, just ask me about the fist bump. Ask me about the fist bump. America obsesses about these things. Don't look too friendly. Don't do it. It's also funny how President Biden thought it would be better to fist bump Mohammed bin Salman because that seems less friendly than a handshake. That's the whitest decision of all time. No, because it's the opposite. Handshakes are the most formal way to meet someone. Even your enemy, you can be like, hello. But fist bumps is always like, what's up? What's up, killer? I see you, man. I see you, player. You know what I really think happened? I think Joe Biden's team briefed him. And they were like, Mr. President, in Saudi Arabia, if you make them mad, and you have, they'll chop off your hands. So you want to hide your fingers, get in, quick, in and out, in and out. Godspeed, Mr. President. You know what Biden should have done if he didn't want any controversy in this? Is he should have gone in for the handshake and then given him the psych. Just do that move. There's no comeback for that. Devastating. If he did that, MBS would have been like, oh, just take all the oil and go. Don't tell my friends. Don't tell my friends. And okay, if you're wondering why this situation is so awkward, right? Oh, who cares? He fist bumped him. He met him. Why is it so bad? It's because back during the presidential campaign, Biden was saying things like this.
Khashoggi was in fact murdered and dismembered, and I believe in the order of the Crown Prince. There's very little social redeeming value in the present government in Saudi Arabia. We were going to in fact make them pay the price and make them in fact the pariah that they are.
Awkward. Yeah, because how do you go from that to flying across the world to meet the guy in his palace? Biden must have been a little nervous. You know, you meet the guy and you've said all these things about him, call him a murderer, now you're in his palace. He's going to be walking in like, oh, come on, you've watched Fox News. I just read the teleprompter, man. I don't even know where I am most of the time. That wasn't me. And unfortunately for President Biden, the bad news didn't stop at his presidential pound. Yes, because when Biden got back to the US, he had to deal with another all-powerful dictator, Joe Manchin. West Virginia Democrat, and somehow the real president of the United States. Because you see, Biden has spent the last 2 years trying to get Joe Manchin to vote for his Build Back Better bill. But Manchin has spent the last 2 years saying no. And he's been giving a variety of answers. You know, oh, I don't want to risk inflation. I don't want to end offshore drilling. I'm a Gemini and Mercury's in retrograde. Now's not a good time to make big decisions. So after a lot of back and forth, Manchin said, look, I'll do a much smaller bill that only has some health insurance expansions and the climate change stuff, and then you can raise taxes on corporations to pay for it. So Democrats took out everything Manchin didn't want and came back last week with a bill that only has what he asked for. To which Joe Manchin said, oh.
More now from Capitol Hill, where Democrats are extremely upset with Senator Joe Manchin after he effectively torpedoed their hopes of acting on climate change. It comes after Manchin told Democratic leadership he is not willing to back major climate and tax provisions in President Biden's agenda. Senator Bernie Sanders was especially upset over the weekend, suggesting Manchin never negotiated in good faith in the first place.
People like Manchin, Sinema to a lesser degree, who are intentionally sabotaging the president's agenda, what the American people want, what a majority of us in the Democratic caucus want. Nothing new about this.
Yep, Bernie's pissed off. Yeah, haven't seen him this pissed since someone tried to give him 1% milk. I stand with the 99% fat milk that's been excluded from the dairy aisle for far too long. No more with the 1%. And I get it. I get why Democrats are frustrated with Joe Manchin, because he's on your team. He's wearing your jersey, but every time he gets the ball, he dunks on you. But if Joe Manchin doesn't believe in these policies, the least he could do is just say so up front instead of wasting everybody's time and jerking the Democrats around for a year, pretending there was something they could do to win him over. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the time I tried to take a girl to the prom, right? And she was like, well, first you have to buy me flowers, then you have to rent a limo, then we have to go somewhere nice for dinner. And I did all of that, and then the night of the prom came and she was like, I don't think that as your history teacher this is appropriate for me to go to the prom with you. Why am I going to the prom? Why didn't you say that at the beginning, Mrs. Jenkins? Because now I'm broken, I don't have a date. Why is she so big? Come on. She was a very interesting person. All right, finally, some news from the world of automobiles. Transformers that never went through puberty. Every year, car companies compete to see who can offer the most exciting new options. You know, like voice-activated controls or augmented reality windshields or trunks that have got a lot more junk. Yeah, you're looking good, Sedan. I see you. I see you. But the latest innovation isn't a new feature. No, it's a new way to pay for what you get.
A new kind of subscription could be making its way to your bank statements. BMW says that it will start charging a monthly fee for heated seats.
It costs about $12 a month and would allow the car maker to activate the heating coils already built into the seats. You can purchase the heated seats when you buy the car, but for those who didn't, you can at least temporarily try them out on a cold day with the subscription. They're also considering a subscription service for heated steering wheels.
It's interesting. BMW is going to let people subscribe for certain features in the car, like heated seats. Yeah, so instead of just buying it, you pay month to month. Which, I'll be honest, actually sounds great, because I don't need heated seats in the summer. So why am I paying? Huh? They should do this for every feature. The radio, the windshield wipers. Yeah, the horn. I don't need the horn all the time. I want to subscribe to the horn if I get cut off. This mother, yo, give me three. Load it up, give me three. I'm gonna light his ass up. But there's a downside. You realize there's a downside to this, right? Car manufacturers are joining the subscription model, and we know how this goes. First you buy things, then they go, oh, now you subscribe. And then how does it end? It always ends with ads. Always. It's only a matter of time before you buy a BMW, and then you're gonna have to like listen to a mattress ad every time you start the car. Oh, the killer's coming! Let's get out of here! Are you looking for a new mattress? Stab. So look, if car manufacturers want subscription plans, that's fine. You know, pay for the parts of the car that you only want when you use them. I think that actually works. Although, you better be warned. If you forget to renew the wrong subscriptions, well, that shit could end in tears. Oh, shit, I knew I should have renewed the brake subscription. Oh, all right, you got me, BMW. One more month of brakes, please. Wait, $7.99 for 1 month and then $50 for a year. Is that cheaper? What is that? That's 7 times 12. That equals, it's gonna be, 7 times 12, it's cheaper. I'm fine. Inflation, surprise. It's the reason parents are also throwing tantrums in grocery stores right now. For the past year or so, the price of everything we buy has been skyrocketing, right? Because as companies face higher costs to make their products, they have to pass those costs on to the consumers. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're like, Trevor, can't they keep their prices the same and make a slightly smaller profit? Come on. You're adorable, less profit. But it turns out some companies are not raising their prices. And it's not because they're angels. It's because they've found a much sneakier way to make the same profit as before.
From the rising cost of inflation to the growing trend of shrinkflation.
The next time you're shopping, check closely. This Life cereal box recently got taller, but it lost 2.5 ounces. That's almost a bowl and a half of cereal. Experts call it shrinkflation.
It's a very sneaky way to pass on a price increase. They know consumers will notice a direct price increase, but they won't notice if the product gets a little bit smaller.
We found some products. You see this Charmin here. If you look really, really closely, you'll see the size of the rolls went from 396 sheets to 366 sheets. You wouldn't know it. It says Super Mega on top. And here's my favorite, Gatorade. It kind of grew a waistline here. It used to be 32 ounces. Now it's 28 ounces, but it is the same height. You can see it there.
Yeah, she's right. That Gatorade bottle's looking good. You're like, damn, what you been doing, Gatorade? You stopped drinking Gatorade? But yes, from soda to cereal and even toilet paper, companies are secretly shrinking the size of their products, but you pay the same. And you've probably noticed this, right? Back in the day, you bought a big bag of chips. Everyone ate. These days, you open the bag, and there's just one chip holding the sides to make it look big. And the worst part about shrinkflation is that if you complain about it, you sound crazy. right? If you're like, guys, I think these double stuffed Oreos are actually 1.7 times stuffed, people are just gonna be like, all right, buddy, why don't you put on this jacket and get in this white van? We got you. We're gonna find the rest of your Oreos. The toilet paper one is probably the worst. Yeah, because I'm sure, like me, many of you know how many sheets are in a roll. Yeah, I do it automatically when I'm sitting there. I'll be like $3.94, $3.95, and then it's just like, ah! In fact, you know what? There should be a law. If companies are going to shrink their products, they should at least have to tell us they're doing it. Yeah, because right now they're being slick. They're acting like drug dealers, cutting their product to stretch their supply. Now we got to try to catch them out. Wait a minute, this yogurt is mostly bird poop. You trying to get killed, Trader Joe? You trying to get killed? But let's move on from America's current problem to America's eternal problem, gun violence. This week, Texas released its report on how the Uvalde Police Department handled the school shooting that happened there. And the report concluded that the cops, and I'm quoting here, sucked ass. But the report added that even if the police response had been flawless, it wouldn't have saved most of the kids because someone armed with an AR-15 style rifle can just do too much damage too fast. So the solution to try and stop the next shooting is obvious. And no, don't say it's banning the AR-15s, that's racist. The Constitution is very clear about who has rights in this country. It goes corporations, guns, children, then guns again, then the national anthem, then women, but only women who are holding a gun. That's pretty much it. But apparently, if you're open-minded, there are lots of ways to stop school shootings without getting rid of guns. In fact, check out what this one school district in Texas is getting up to.
Here in North Texas, the Dallas ISD is trying something new to keep students safe. It is requiring clear or mesh backpacks for students in 6th through 12th grades.
Students will be able to carry a small pouch inside the bag that isn't clear to hold cell phones, money, and hygiene products.
Clear backpacks. Are they effective in keeping weapons out of schools? Experts say crime does not necessarily go down because of them.
Well-intended, but relatively ineffective.
You can still hide a weapon inside of a clear backpack, inside of a book, a cutout in a book, inside of clothing.
This video shows how easy it is to hide weapons, regardless of having a clear backpack or not.
God damn! How many guns did that guy have in his pants? Did you see that? Because like it started out scary, and then at some point it was just like a magic trick. It was just like, oh, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this behind you here, an AR-15! But for real, what are we doing here, people? I'm constantly amazed at how America is willing to get rid of everything except guns. Everything will be considered. All right, let's get rid of normal backpacks. Everything is see-through now. Also, you know what? No more clothes for these kids. Yeah. They could be hiding the guns anywhere. In fact, now that I think about it, just get rid of all the kids in school. That way the guns can finally go there in peace. I think we solved it. And you know who's really going to be negatively affected by these clear backpacks? It's all those jocks who are secretly smart. Yeah. Because now they're going to be exposed. Just going to be like, wait a minute, Chad. Like, are you carrying around Shakespeare in your backpack? No, dude, it's just to cover my boners, man, I swear. Dost thou not believeth me? And clearly those things are not going to stop shootings. There's only one thing that is going to stop shootings. And we all know what it is. Just cut to the chase and arrest all the weird kids. Yeah, it's not fair, and it's definitely not legal. It's not a good idea. But it is a good idea. All right, finally, let's talk about the United States Secret Service. The people who wore one tiny earphone before AirPods were cool. Recently, the Secret Service has been all over the news because the January 6th committee wants to know what information they have about President Trump's actions on the day his fans went tailgating in Nancy Pelosi's office. So the committee told the Secret Service, give us all the text messages that you guys were sending that day. But the Secret Service said this.
The Secret Service says it cannot recover the deleted text messages from January 5th and 6th of last year. The Washington Post is reporting the agency has no new text to provide to Congress and that any other messages exchanged between agents around the time of the attack were purged.
The Secret Service claims these messages were erased as part of a device replacement program, adding any insinuation that the Secret Service maliciously deleted text messages following a request is false.
Those Secret Service texts are gone. Like, really not ever to be recovered.
Wow. This is so sad. The Secret Service lost all the texts from January 6th because they were doing a device replacement program. What a terrible thing. Oh. Why do I feel like this is the same kind of device replacement program you do when your partner asks you to explain where you were the other night? Yeah, I was due for upgrade because of what me and Keisha were up to, so I had to, Apple called me and And you know, it's interesting how they're saying once you delete a text, there's no way to retrieve it. Yeah, once they delete a text, it's gone. Because best believe, if any of us lost a text, the Secret Service would find it. Yeah, they would find the shit out of it. You'd be like, oh, I deleted it. They'd be like, give me that phone. They'd be like, so this is what you were doing with Keisha. Shit. And look, I know many people are angry, saying like, I can't believe the Secret Service isn't handing over these texts. Well, but I don't know, maybe it's because I'm South African. I just assumed this would happen. Yeah, that's the Secret Service. That's their job, right? To keep secrets. In fact, if they give you the text, you should fire them, snitch. The real question we should be asking is, why are they even texting? Imagine this, the Capitol was being overrun by a mob of Facebook comments come to life. People are trying to hang the vice president and the Secret Service is texting? Guys, what is this thing for? You're telling me all that shit was happening and someone's using text, they're just like, hey guys, just wanted to warn you, the vice president is in Asia. Sorry, autocorrect, I meant danger. The vice president is in danger, send back, never mind, the problem solved itself. And I know a lot of people think that this was a huge conspiracy, I do. You know, people say that this is proof that the Secret Service was in on the Capitol plot, but it could also be a much simpler answer. You know, maybe they just don't want people to see the texts that they were sending about their boss. Yeah. Like, I know I wouldn't want that. Can you imagine being at the congressional hearing and Liz Cheney's like, so Agent Johnson, what did you mean when you texted President poop emoji is baby crying emoji in car emoji? Be like, I'd rather go to jail, ma'am. Big news coming out of Washington, D.C. Now, everyone is still shell-shocked by the Supreme Court's recent decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, right? And although this made conservatives happy because they finally made government small enough to fit inside a woman's vagina, everyone else was pretty furious. And people weren't just angry at the Supreme Court. No, they were pissed at Democrats because they didn't codify Roe v. Wade. And I don't know about you, but I haven't said codify this much in my entire life. We just say it like it's normal. Codify. Did they codify? You didn't codify. They should have codified. Did you codify your Starbucks order? I did. Well, it turns out that same Supreme Court ruling that struck down Roe v. Wade, it also opened the door to future rulings that could overturn other rights, right? Things like the right to gay marriage, interracial marriage, and contraception, all of which are based on the right to privacy, just like Roe v. Wade. Which is why now Democrats are trying to learn their lesson and protect those rights before Clarence Thomas gets to them.
A historic moment on LGBTQ rights.
The bill is passed.
Nearly 50 House Republicans joined all Democrats to write same-sex and interracial marriage into federal law. The vote comes amid growing concerns that a conservative Supreme Court could nullify marriage equality. Still, 157 Republicans voted against the Respect for Marriage Act.
Democrats believe that the government has no place between you and the person you love.
The House has officially passed a bill legalizing gay and interracial marriage, which is a great victory for 1995. because let's be honest, it's really strange to be diving back into this debate that we thought was resolved in 2015, right? It's weird that they're like, we're doing it now. What do you mean now? What's next? We're gonna start arguing about that dress again? Is that what we're doing? Because it's over, guys. It's over. We decided a long time ago, it's blue and black, all right? And anyone who thinks it's white and gold is a Nazi. Yeah, I said it. I'm gonna see those colors, nothing in there. Also, it's even weirder that 157 Republicans voted against this bill. You voted against, so you're on the record now against interracial marriage? Like, look, I know mixed couples have ruined your lives for the past few years, but I think it's time to let that go. I mean, I don't even know what the argument is against gay marriage. What's the argument? You know, when it became legal in 2015, conservatives all said, oh, America is going to fall apart when this happens. And yeah, it kind of did, but that's not because of gay marriage. So the bill passed in the House, okay? But there's a chance it might never even reach the Senate. Because according to one top Democratic senator, the Senate has, quote, more priorities than we have time. And I never understand this. You don't have time? How long does it take? Huh? Should gay marriage be legal? Yes, boom, votes are done. That was like, what, 3 seconds maybe? I can do another one. Look how much time I have. Should interracial marriage be legal? Boom, bam, yes, there we go, done. That's 2 votes. Let's go again. Should interracial marriage be mandatory? This one's a little bit harder, but I'm gonna say, yeah, let's do it. All the babies will be super cute. Done. You see that? 3 votes. We're in. We don't have the time. And speaking of Democrats having messed up priorities, you know how there are all these Republican candidates running for office right now who believe that the election was stolen from Trump by Italian space aliens hacking the voting machines? Well, some of those MAGA heads are starting to win their nominations. And you'll never guess who's helping them out.
Another election denier has just secured the Republican primary for governor in Maryland. Trump-backed candidate Dan Cox, known for stoking election fraud fears and actually encouraging former President Trump to seize voting machines, will face off against the Democratic nominee there in November.
In an apparent effort to meddle with the Maryland race, the Democratic Governors Association paid for this ad touting Dan Cox, a pro-Trump candidate.
This isn't the first time a party has worked to choose its own opponent. And Maryland isn't the only state where Democrats have done it this year. They succeeded in boosting Trump-aligned Doug Mastriano in Pennsylvania and Darren Bailey in Illinois. They are attempting it in Arizona right now with Kerry Lake. They tried unsuccessfully to do it in Colorado by giving an assist to 2 2020 election deniers.
Yeah, believe it or not, Democrats are actually helping these extreme candidates win the nomination because they're assuming that they're too crazy to win the general election. Yes, it's a plan that has never backfired in the history of America for the last 5 years. Yeah, I can't see how that could go wrong. And look, on the one hand, I get it, right? It's the classic get some ass by standing next to the ugliest person at the bar strategy. I understand that. But this strategy assumes that Democrats will run a competent campaign against these people. That's a big assumption. I don't know about you guys. I don't trust the Democrats to run a race properly. These are the only people who will try to shoot fish in a barrel and somehow end up with the fish shooting them. Nemo got the gun. I thought I had it, but Nemo got the gun. Not to mention the stakes are so high. Think about if this thing backfires, right? Democrats use their money to help crazy Republicans win their part of the race. And if it backfires, what happens? Because right now, there's Democrats out there saying, if this maniac gets into office, it'll spell the end of democracy as we know it. But on the other hand, running against him gives me a 4-point boost in the polls, so let's roll the dice, baby, let's do it! Democrats forget, not everyone pays attention to politics, all right? Not everyone is super informed about who the candidates are. Yeah, you might be like, oh, they're just crazy, everyone will see it. No, a lot of people, they just show up and they vote. They'll be like, okay, yeah, Republican, Democrat, that's all they vote on. Or they just vote based on the name they like best. Yeah, I mean, how do you think Barack Obama got elected? Yeah, a lot of people were like, yo, this white dude's got a crazy ass name. I'm gonna vote for him. Oh, wait, what? All right, finally, let's move on from the potential downfall of democracy to a more light-hearted story about Sesame Street. They're racist. Or at least, that's what they're being accused of after a at their theme park went viral.
Sesame Street, a place of inclusion and learning for generations of kids. But Sesame Place, the theme park based on characters from the iconic children's TV show, is issuing an apology this morning after backlash from this video showing 2 young black girls seemingly snubbed by a performer dressed as Rosita at the Sesame Place theme park near Philadelphia. Sesame Place initially released a statement saying that the costumes characters wear sometimes make it difficult for them to see, adding the Rosita performer did not intentionally ignore the girls and is devastated about the misunderstanding. But that statement wasn't good enough for many on social media who expressed outrage. Now other parents are sharing their own videos that they say show similar instances of their children being treated rudely compared to others, all seeming to show similar bias by characters at the park. As a result, Sesame Place has issued a second statement saying that they are committed to making this right, adding they will conduct training for our employees so they better understand, recognize, and deliver an inclusive, equitable, and entertaining experience for our guests.
This is some bullshit. These little girls are getting snubbed by Rosita. She's not even a top 10 Muppet. Yeah, like if Elmo or Big Bird snubs you, then yeah, I get it, they're big time. But Rosita, it's like getting snubbed by Hawkeye. My man, you should be honored to take a selfie with me, you Robin Hood ass mother. And Rosita gonna ditch those kids. And just as an aside though, I don't know if this is racism or not, but can we take a step back and appreciate how ironic this outrage is? Because basically what people are saying is, why won't this total stranger touch my kids? They touch the other kids, touch my kids! Guy in a furry suit that I don't know, touch my children! You know what got me here is this. Sesame Place's explanation for this whole thing was weird because their excuse was that it wasn't racism, it's just that the costumes make it hard to see at lower levels. But that's where the kids are. Why would you design a costume for kids that can't see most kids? Huh? These guys are like, look, we're more than happy to give hugs to any children who are LeBron's height or taller, okay? I mean, if you can't see at lower levels, what happens with the employees in the parks? Like, they must be so confused. Every day they're just going out, they're like, damn, no kids again? Just a bunch of adult weirdos all by themselves. What's going on here? There's also a disconnect between the things Sesame Place is saying, because if this was just an innocent misunderstanding, then why is Sesame Place going to add bias training? Because either it was a mistake or it was racism. It can't be both. You know, it feels like now that's what companies do. They just go like, oh, we're going to do bias training. That's what they say just to get people off their backs. Yeah, we're going to do bias training. We're going to read some Ta-Nehisi Coates again. We got this. We're fine. Because what are they teaching them in the bias training? What is the bias training? Hey, so you see the black kids? Yeah. Yeah, that's all you have to do, see the black kids. President Biden has had a rough time recently. He couldn't get climate change action. He couldn't get free community college. He couldn't get tax hikes on the rich. But it turns out there's one thing he could get.
We begin this hour with breaking news from the White House, where President Joe Biden is in isolation after he tested positive for COVID.
The White House press secretary is saying that the president is fully vaccinated. He's been twice boosted. He's experiencing what they say are very mild symptoms at this point. So he will be isolating, but he will be able to continue in his role. He won't need to turn over any duties, it appears, to the vice president at this point.
Hey, folks, guess you heard this morning I tested positive for COVID. But I've been double vaccinated, double boosted. Symptoms are mild, and I really appreciate your inquiries and your concerns. But I'm doing well. I'm getting a lot of work done. I'm going to continue to get it done. And in the meantime, thanks for your concern, and keep the faith. It's going to be okay.
Okay. First things first. I'm sure all of our thoughts are with President Biden for a speedy recovery. Get well soon, sir. You made it through the Spanish flu. You can make it through this. I know you can do it. Also, it does look like he's going to be fine, right? He's even got like swag in that video. It's like, hey, you probably heard I got COVID. But I get why he's got swag. You know, he's been vaxxed, he's been boosted, he's been double boosted, and he's taking antiviral drugs. And just to be safe, he's sipping some bleach on the side, you know? Yeah, that shit seems a little ridiculous. Till you get COVID, then you're like, I'll try anything. Another reason the president's going to be fine is because, let's be honest, there's not much that COVID can do to him. Yeah, think about it. What's going to happen? The virus is going to get in his body and be like, let's see what I can do here. Time to get some brain fog, some fatigue, some dizzy. Wait. Have I already been here? What's going on? Now, in the meantime, Biden says he will not be taking any sick days, which is what sucks about being president, right? You still got to put on a strong face. Any other job, you'd be milking that shit, you know? It's like, Oh, COVID really got me. Oh, I think I'm going to be sick for the rest of the summer. Oh, if you see pictures of me by the pool, my phone was hacked. All right, but let's move on from the big news out of America to the big news that's coming out of the United Kingdom. The Queen has COVID. No, I'm joking. That would be crazy though, right? That would be crazy. No, I'm joking. She doesn't have COVID. She's been dead for years. Anyway, back in 2019, Prime Minister Boris Johnson and his Conservative Party, they won a landslide election victory. It was huge. They won everywhere, in southern England, and Manchester, in Sherlock-upon-Watson, and East Narnia, all the places. Basically, between Boris and Ed Sheeran, 2019 was a good year, especially for British people who look like they're from the year 1326. It was a good time. And it was such a commanding victory that people thought Boris Johnson might become the Prime Minister who was up there for a decade, which would be amazing for Britain's first human broom. But then Boris started getting caught up in scandals, right? He botched the COVID response. Then he got caught throwing a bunch of parties while the rest of Britain had to be in lockdown. And then he hired people who he knew were alleged sex offenders. And of course, there was that time when he showed up to Parliament wearing a t-shirt that said, "The carpet matches the drapes," which was totally inappropriate because it doesn't. He combs the carpet. So, finally, last month, he was forced to resign in disgrace. And yesterday, he gave the greatest farewell speech of all time.
Boris Johnson facing Parliament for one last time as British Prime Minister, as only he would. Johnson defended his record in his farewell remarks. He also gave some words of advice to his successor.
Number one, stay close to the Americans. Stick up for the Ukrainians. Stick up for freedom and democracy everywhere. Cut taxes and deregulate wherever you can to make this the greatest place to live and invest, which it is. Focus on the road ahead. Focus on the road ahead, but always remember to check the rear view mirror. And remember, above all, it's not Twitter that counts. It's the people that sent us here. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank everybody here, and hasta la vista, baby. Thank you.
Hasta la vista, baby. This is the land of Shakespeare and Jane Austen, and the quote Boris chose was from the Terminator? I mean, I guess that shows you the power of American culture. Even the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is like, "Farewell and Godspeed." The most ridiculous thing ever. And I don't know if you saw, the speech was weird, the whole thing. In the middle, it looked like he just started giving random advice about driving. Focus on the road ahead. Always check the rearview mirror. And remember, it's not a hit and run if you drive away slowly. All right? It's also like, normally when you're giving a speech, especially about resigning or being fired, surely you want to make people regret it. Like when you give the speech, you want people to go oh man, have we made the wrong choice? They're leaving. Remember with Obama, right? When he gave his farewell speech, even racists in America were like, maybe he was one of the good ones. But this guy gives a speech, you're like, yo, how did he get the job? Did he win a contest or something? Who is this person? Anyway, let's move on to some news about America's most powerful institution, Amazon. And I know from the get-go, people have mixed feelings about Amazon. Oh, they exploit their workers. Oh, they ruin local economies. Quit bitching. I love them. You know why? If I need more shaman, I get it on Amazon, and boom, it's at my house in 6 hours. And yeah, maybe it's not exactly shaman, maybe it's like a Chinese knockoff, and maybe the toilet paper is mostly made out of lead, but am I gonna get brain poisoning from wiping with lead? No. And I certainly am not gonna get brain poisoning from wiping with lead. Anyway, the fact is, Amazon is a part of life in America. And I'm not gonna get brain poisoning from wiping with lead. And now, Amazon is going to be expanding even more.
We have breaking news out of Seattle this morning, home to Amazon. The company announcing it is diving further into the healthcare industry with plans to buy healthcare provider One Medical for about $3.9 billion. Amazon says healthcare is high on its list of things that needs reinventing.
Yeah! Finally a win for Jeff Bezos. Oh, man. I could not be more excited. Yeah, because with Amazon's prediction algorithm, healthcare will never be the same. You notice how they always know what you want, what you need before you even know it? Imagine them with healthcare. You're going to buy a pack of AA batteries, and then just before you check out, they'll be like, you might also need chemotherapy. But chemotherapy, I don't have, shit! Shouldn't have used that lead toilet paper. Now, I know some people are a little uncomfortable with the idea of Amazon getting into every industry, because they're buying medicine now, they run the cloud, they own TV studios, they have grocery stores, and you know what, so what? What's the worst that could happen? Huh? Well, what, at some point Jeff Bezos owns everything? Yeah, so what? And then he has all our money, so now we're his slaves, working crazy hours in the warehouse, peeing in bottles. That doesn't sound so bad, yeah? At least I'll know where my packages are, yeah, I'll take it for myself. The one thing that does suck about this is if Amazon also owns your medicine, you realize that means Alexa knows your medical secrets. You gotta watch out for that. Yeah, because you're gonna be hanging out at home with your friends, and all of a sudden Alexa will be like, your hemorrhoid cream is arriving this afternoon. No, Alexa, cancel. You would like me to cancel your giant tub of hemorrhoid cream? No, cancel. Before we go, please consider supporting Keen. This is an organization providing free fitness and recreation programs for youth with disabilities. So if you want to help them offer equal opportunities for recreation, fitness, and friendship, then please donate at the link below.